Hello everyone, I am really sick currently. You can probably tell through my voice. So, I was gonna wait until I felt better, like completely, to start making videos on HSR and WUA and stuff because there's a lot going on currently. But I made a post, I always make community posts whenever I'm sick anyways, and I can't cover it in videos, of all the upcoming leaks of the character kits and stuff. And people are getting mad at me because I'm just saying facts, right? And these people download their opinions off of content CCs who make all their videos engagement bait as possible and overrate characters. But I digress, right? I said that Morai was looking very good. However, once we got better translations, and people originally thought she might be the next SK because her buffs were really solid generally, it actually turns out that the biggest buff in her base kit is actually locked behind a mechanic only one character in the entirety of the game can activate, which is Lene. This is basically a Yuno situation all over again, where there's only one character with a very specific mechanic who can activate the full potential of that other character's kit. Everybody else kind of gets half-assedly buffed, right? So in Yuno's case, it's refreshing a shield I think like 10 times for a total of 40 or 50% damage amp. In Morai's case, it's an extra 40% damage bonus that's locked behind doing Toon Rupture or Toon Strain. These are just new mechanics tied to Toon Break that only Lene and Morai can kind of support. And basically, yeah, Lene's the only one who can do it. So she's the only one who can activate that 40% damage bonus. Now, there is a thing you can do to, avert this, which is just go for her S1. They made it so that her S1 removes this restriction, and you can now just activate the 40% damage bonus no matter what at all times, right? So at S1, I actually do think that she is an SK level generalist support. However, if we compare S0 to S0, it just isn't even really close. Including her Echo set, the max buff she gives at S0 is 25% damage amp and 25% damage bonus. People saw this and immediately called her the new SK. When SK gives 12.5% crit rate, she gives 25% crit damage, she gives 15% damage amp. I think she gives a total of 25% attack as well with Fallacy plus Rejuvenating Glow. And I think she may give something else, but I already forgot, right? So basically, SK is like a significantly better buffer. And then people were saying, oh, but what about the personal damage? From the leaks we currently have, her personal damage is very underwhelming, which isn't exactly surprising because she's a third slot support, right? Third slot supports aren't exactly known in this game for doing much damage unless you're running something like Mono Fusion, and even then Lupa doesn't do that crazy amounts of damage, right? So SK's much better generalist buffing would still be better, right? You'd probably need S1 Morai to be competitive with SK, but SK is available to all new players on a, selector banner, and most people already have SK. If you have S1 SK, then it's also even better to go for her S2 as compared to picking up something like Morai. Basically, all I'm saying is people are lying about Morai's value. They're being heavily clouded by bias, and these people are getting mad at me for rightfully calling out the misinfo, right? This is something I've noticed that's very common in the WUA space, is ignorance when it comes to character value. People will base a character's strength off of their shield release performance and never at all consider the future in the slightest, right? And this is why so many people end up with characters they just never use down long in the run, like 1 or 2 years, is because they just fall for the big CC's engagement bait when they make guides. Oh my god, this new overpowered character, this is the new SK. They literally did this just now with Chisa. Chisa is the new SK. Everybody in version 3 is going to be negative status. They do this every fucking time. People download their opinions off of these CC's and then come to my videos wondering why I'm actually able to form my own opinion without absolutely following the lead of someone else bullshitting for engagement, right? This is a channel that is purely based off of meta leaks and shit. And people are like, oh, what do you say about Yuno? CC said this about Yuno. Yuno is only best in slot in one main DPS's team in the entirety of the game. I don't know why people keep fucking bringing up Yuno. Yes, she's best in slot for some sub DPS teams currently because she has a decent damage output. Right? Like, yes, I literally said this entire time, since the first fucking beta, I said that her damage is really fucking good and that main DPS Yuno wanners are absolutely winning. Never once did I say her damage was underwhelming. All I said was that damage isn't something that is permanently valuable like buffs are, right? For example, you look at Yuno's damage right now, the sub DPS she's contributing towards in teams, and quite often you'll see it's maybe like 15% of the team's damage, 20% of the team's damage. That's decent. However, when characters and teams inevitably become stronger as we go into the future, then that 15 to 20% can now drop all the way to under 10%, meaning newer units would value pure buffing more than an older character's damage capability, right? So that's my entire point behind Yuno. It's not that she's literally unusable, that she's gonna brick your account, that she can't clear endgame. It's just that her future value is very underwhelming, since it is legit impossible to activate the full extent of her buffs unless paired with Augusta, which is the one team I said, yes, she's decently worth pulling for, although even then, you could just use Mortefi completely fine, right? It's not that Yuno's unusable, it's not that she's bad, it's just that she's not good. You know what I'm saying? She's not exceptional. People are just once again clouded and biased because of when she first released. She's the first of her kind, right? I'll give you an example coming from Wuwa it fucking self. Everybody called Brant a must pull, the highest value unit in the entirety of the game next to SK. And don't get me wrong, Brant still has incredible value. Similar to Yuno, he has very strong main DPS and he fits into mono fusion. And quite often he deals more damage than Cheng Li does in the mono fusion team, right? However, Brant these days, you don't see much value for him for almost any new teams in the slightest, right? It really doesn't exist. He has this mono fusion team, he has his own main DPS, but outside of that, you'll almost never see anyone using Brant at all or saying he's great value outside of mono fusion, right? And there's a reason for that. He simply isn't best in slot for anyone else out there. People need to understand that there is a difference in the way that Wuwa creates their teams and characters and makes them so-called predatory as compared to something as straight obvious as HSR. Right? This game loves selling restrictive characters and teams that can never activate the full potential of their kits without having designated best in slots released by Kuro, right? That is how this game makes most of its money. It's not by an exceptional amount of power creep or HP inflation, although some of it does exist. It's just that they make characters underwhelming without their best in slot partners, and that gets people to buy the best in slot partners, making them more money. It's a completely different fucking approach. This is so frustrating that whenever I talk about Wuwa, no one at all is talking about or bringing up HSR, and people will instantly bring up Hoyoshil, HSR this, HSR that. This is the entire reason why I made my video of why I was quitting Wuwa content in the first place. It's filled with nothing but ignorant man-children who think they have a higher level of intelligence because they just parrot what other people say, big CCs, instead of being able to form their own opinion themselves from actually reading these character kits. It's completely fucking embarrassing how low IQ a majority of this Wuwa CC space is, and Wuwa, player space is when it comes to valuing characters and what they're capable of doing, right? Like, people are really just satisfied by absolutely anything and then get mad at me that they're satisfied by anything when I am talking strictly about meta and future value, which I always fucking have. If you don't like that, leave this fucking channel. You are just going to be absolutely miserable watching me, and you're going to be making other people, including myself, more miserable for absolutely no fucking reason, because you have no understanding of what it is I'm trying to convey. It's not that I want this game to have insane power creep or HP inflation. I absolutely love having a generalist. When I originally thought Morai's 40% damage bonus wasn't locked behind having Lene, I said this is absolutely amazing. She's on the same level as generalist as SK, right? Finally, they've decided to give people a bone instead of needing to constantly pull for niche teams, niche characters that are only best in slot for one or two attributes or one or two teams in the entirety of the game. It's only now where I found out that you need fucking Lene specifically out of all the characters in the game to activate this 40% damage bonus that I am saying she is not a new SK. This doesn't mean Morai's value is bad. It doesn't mean that she's not going to have best in slot teams. This is the Chisa thing all over fucking again. People can't think for themselves. Saying a character isn't SK doesn't mean I'm saying they are bad. It just means they aren't fucking SK. Okay? Like, please, you need to understand the value that SK has in this game completely trumps every fucking character and puts them 10 feet under in the dirt. Okay, comparing to this woman is completely embarrassing when all you can offer generally at S0 is fucking, what's it called? 25% damage amp and 25% damage bonus, right? Holy voice cracks. I'm sick as shit right now, man. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video real quick. Just want to clarify that Morai is still going to be good. She's still going to have best in slot teams. She just ain't as general as a lot of people have thought she would be, because her buff is much weaker than what we thought. Originally, people thought it was vulnerability too. And it's locked behind having Lene on the team unless you go into her sequence 1. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Peace out.